everyone under the power of la Junta Militar.
For an introduction to Argentina's dictatorship, you must understand the background of Argentina's government. Argentina was having crisis since 1929. Many factors influenced, but probably the most important was the drastic and rapid change of power they had during all the following years. There were many rulers with different ideologies, plans and actions that did not help to stabilize Argentina. One of the many rulers Argentina had was Justo Ortiz de Castillo, who was the very first one to suffer the first coup d'état. A coup d'état is a French word that refers to changing the power with non-peaceful actions. Raúl Ramírez Anfarrén took the power until October 7, 1940, when Domingo Perón took the power as Secretario de Trabajo, with the collaboration of Eva Duarte. By February of 1946, took the power as president.
During the first years of Perón, a year before the World War, hope and progress came aside with his marriage to Eva Duarte, who quickly implemented many social plans, just like giving the women the power to vote. Eva Duarte was a symbol of freedom and progress to all the society. She implemented new and better conditions for the workers. She also earned a million credit to invest in food.
Unfortunately, in 1952, the regime Peronists fall with the death of Eva. Repercussions like the loss of interest of the army, the hostility the United States showed, were factors that contributed to the destitution of Perón in 1955 and to the beginning of the Revolución Libertadora. Immediately, Amburu became president and abolished the national constitution. Later, Arturo Frondizi gets into the power, but it's quickly overthrown by a military coup d'état. In his place, José Mario Guido is assigned and by the Supreme Court makes elections that gave Arturo the presidency. Once again, another coup d'état that places Juan Carlos Onganía into the power. In 1973, Alejandro Lanús wants to end with all the instability and organizes elections that gave the power once again to Perón.
On March 24, 1976, tanks and troops led by the army went across and took the capital center. This was a military coup d'état. Population is notified, economic crisis, political instability, and many factors put in risk Isabel Perón's rules. Commanders of the coup d'état had only one commitment: delete all the way of social participation that opposed to the political plan, a plan with new political, economical, and social reforms. For accomplishing his commitment, the new government grows a feeling of repression over all the people based on torture, fear, and censorship. This new dictatorship, officially called Proceso de Reorganización Nacional, is represented by the Junta Militar, integrated by the commanders of the army, Jorge Rafael Videla, Emilio Eduardo Macera, and Eduardo Ramón Agosti. Quickly, the new government militarized almost all the aspects of citizens' lives. Radio, TV, and public opinions were supervised and controlled. Per the new dictatorship, the presidency must be in hands of a foreign man. That's why Jorge Rafael Videla stays as provisional president. When Videla took the power, the repression against the citizens increased. Student leaders and intellectuals were kidnapped and sent to the centros clandestinos de detención. Later, the president designs José Alfredo Martínez de Hoz as the new in charge of the Plan de Reordenamiento Económico Nacional, a plan that will create lots of unconformity in the citizens because it affected the rural population and by its side the national industry production. On the other hand, besides all the injustice and bad, rude, and aggressive treatments they were having, some citizens didn't oppose. They were tired of all the government chaos and wanted a solution. By 1977, there were three government groups. The first one, led by Videla, that has the idea of a democratic rule. The second one, held by Carlos Guillermo, Suarez, and Mendez, opposed to Videla's ideas. And the last one, Mancera, whom also retreated the democracy and instead wanted the power for him. In April 30, 1977, a group of mothers got together in front of La Casa Rosada, where they had to walk and talk because the public meetings were not allowed. There is when Las Marchas de Madres de Mayo were created. After a few months, new social groups against Junta Militar were created, looking for human rights. That's why La Junta made repression worse. The junta used Argentina's World Cup for hiding the real country situation. They made hotels, stadiums, and they get into debt. The media said they were a peaceful country. The government used the happiness of the country about the football games, saying that happiness was about the peaceful country they lived in. Tension was getting bigger. Macera wanted to be president, but the situation changed. Macera and Agosti were displaced from the power, and Roberto Viola, with Armando Lombroschini, took their places. In 1979, the pressure from the US and international organisms wanted Argentina with peace, so the junta invited OEA to their country. They noticed the quantity of disappeared people and made a report that sentenced the Junta Militar. In 1981, Roberto Eduardo Viola became president, and he selected Lorenzo Sigaud as the economic director. Both led the country into bankruptcy, and the external debt increased. So the main parties from La Multipartidaria made a political agreement that wanted the return of democracy and the realization of free elections in 1984.
Almost at the end of this great conflict in 1982, Leopoldo Fortunato Galiteri became president. His authoritarian profile wasn't accepted by the population, wanted a return of the democratic institutions.
The fall of Galtieri happened few months later with a war against UK for the Malvinas. Argentina surrendered and the General Reinaldo Vigone took the presidency. Months later, the new president felt pressure from the parties and finally calls for new elections for the next year.
Say that Argentina's actual democracy began with the elections of 1983 with Raúl Ricardo becoming the new president and ending with the dictatorship.
Everyone under the power of La Junta Militar.